My name is Mark Martinez. I'm the Global Software Sales Engineer. Part of my duties is to help promote the various software development tools that we market to our customers. My contact information is up on the screen. Feel free to contact me anytime if you have any questions regarding CircuitStudio and how to obtain it, or if you need support. You will also see the Global CAD Tool Technical Support Mailbox, PCB software at Element 14. If you have any questions concerning CircuitStudio, how to do different things in CircuitStudio, we have a full staff of technical support engineers that have been trained by Altium globally. So please feel free to send any questions that you might have to that mailbox. I can also be reached via that mailbox as well.
And I created a project here and a PCB document in there. I'm going to want to add an enclosure to define my board shape from. I don't have a command here in my home menu to place a 3D body or anything like that. So what I'm going to have to do is create a library and create a component in there and then place my enclosure as a step model into that component, then place my component right onto the board. Let me go ahead and create a new library. I'm just going to do a PCB library document. And then I have my new blank component in here. I'll just go ahead and rename that. And then I want to import my enclosure into this component. So in my home menu, I have this 3D body command. And I can do, of course, a simple extrusion, but what I want is a step model. So I pick the generic step model here, and then click this embed button. And then I can browse my hard drive. Pick that one there, and then hit the OK button. And now I'm holding the step model on my cursor. I can place it anywhere I want in the workspace. And the dialog comes right back up. It wants me to place another one, so I'm just going to hit cancel. There we go. It's just a simple enclosure to hold my board shape inside it. And I have some commands here in the Tools menu where I can rotate it around. I can make it flat with the board surface and add some snap points and that kind of stuff to it. Let me go ahead and just set my reference or my origin to the lower left. And then I'll go ahead and save this library. Then if I go back to my PCB document, you can see here in my projects panel that this PCB library and this PCB document are in the same project. So I'll have access to that library from my libraries panel. I'll bring that up over here. And by default, you won't see your PCB libraries here. You'll just see intlibs. But there's this 3 period button that you can click on and then enable the footprints view. And that will allow you to bring in just a footprint from a PCB library. So here's my enclosure one that I can see now in the drop-down. And then my component listed here, I can just drag and drop it right into the workspace. And then I could have aligned it flat with the board face inside the library. You can see here it's kind of at an odd angle. And I'll show you how to fix that real quick even in the PCB editor. And it does have a designator that comes along with it because it is a component, and you can go ahead and hide that or delete it. And let me just move this up and to the right a little bit so it's not down here in the bottom of my workspace. So I'll just use the board shape and move board shape. And then under the board shape, I have defined from 3D bodies, and you'll notice it's grayed out now. You'll only be able to use that command if you're in the 3D mode. You can hit the 3 key to switch to that, or right in the view menu, I have to switch to 2D, 3D there. board shape defined from 3D body. And at the bottom in the status bar, it's telling me to pick a 3D body. So I just have the one step model here. I'm going to go ahead and click on it. Now it's going to ask me to choose a face. And I can move the mouse around and select any face that I like from this body. And the one that I want for my board is right here. And as soon as I click on it, since it's not aligned with the board shape, it's going to ask me to align it. I can choose to align it with the top or the bottom, and I'm going to go ahead and pick the bottom. Now you'll see my step model is aligned with my board shape. I can go ahead and define my board shape from that body now. We'll go through that same command, pick a 3D body, and then pick a face for it. And here I have an option where I can hide the 3D body after I've created the board shape from it. And again, I can align with the top or the bottom surface. So there we go. I quickly created a board shape that exactly matches the face from my step model. And if I want to show that step model, of course, I can go into my View menu, and I can open up my PCB panel. I'll go in 2D mode here. Set it to 3D models. And then I can just select my model, and I can choose if I want to display it or not. And there's some cool transparency settings here also. Of course, since this is a component, it's going to follow all of my rules that I set up in the design rules. I can set up this component clearance rule that will affect this component along with all other components that have 3D bodies. So if I use this enclosure as maybe a lid for my PCB board, then I could set a maximum height in this height design rule down here. So I can use this enclosure for the clearance checking as well as defining my board shape. It's real simple to get a step model in and create your board shape from it. The real trick is that it all has to be done in a PCB library because that's the only place where you can place 3D bodies and step models. And of course, this enclosure, if you did an ECO from your schematic, since this isn't a component on your schematic, it will try to be removed. And you can fix that by going into your project options and setting it to not remove components during the ECO, or you can create the schematic symbol that points to this component, place it on your schematic, and then set it as like a bomb only, or I'm sorry, a no bomb, so that that component wouldn't show up on your bill of materials.